Okay, you guys. So I keep saying I'm not going to do pop-up lives, and then I almost exclusively do pop-up lives. Apparently, I'm just like legit not going to ever schedule a live ahead of time at this point. So this should be a pretty good conversation because it's kind of where, social media is bleeding into the real world. Hey, Chance X. Hello. How do you say your name? Is it Amis? That's pretty. Hey, DJ Mottsville. Hi, Gerald. Hi, Self Care Boss with the healing hands. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to frame this conversation. We're actually going to be having a call in. So let me go ahead and put the call in number in the chat. Don't call now, though, because if you call now, you're not going to get an answer. I'm just going to put the number in the chat for my mods so they can have it for those who don't still have it. Actually, I'll wait a second. Okay, so basically, you saw the title of this. The black man winning is the black woman winning. And the black woman winning is the black man winning. And so my man's going to talk today about what that looks like when we don't have that ideology in the real world. And then we're going to have a call in to kind of discuss this. Now, I will reiterate this later, but the call in is only going to be on the topic. So I'm going to let him go ahead and lay the foundation for this. And then I want you guys to get involved in this conversation. Just share your thoughts and feelings, whether they're, in agreement or to the adverse. It doesn't matter. All right. So, I pronounced it correctly. Dope. Because your name is really pretty. Hi. Hey, Sean. Okay. So, babe, do you want to kind of lay the foundation for our discussion?
Sure. First and foremost, I'd like to thank you, Irene, for allowing me to opine in this space about something I think is very important within the Black community. Um, and we dialogue about this all the time, but it's very fresh since, I had this occurrence today at work.
Babe, I'm sorry. I guess they can hear the fan.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, that's just a fan.
Okay. Is that better now? Is it? I want to make sure there's some clarity.
Oh no. We may not be able to fix that because y'all it's hot. So you might have to just suck up the
I turned up the fan. Yeah, I turned it up.
All right.
So hopefully that's better.
Okay.
So yeah, let me just get into it, and oh, it's really, like I said, it's problematic for me. Um, so the situation is this. We're having what's called like a capstone at my job because there's a rites of passage program that we have, and there's young men and young women involved, African Americans, right? And so it's a 4-week program where they receive college credits. It's also an opportunity for them to really be kind of um, really entrenched with Black culture and Black people, right? Because in the state where I reside is not a lot of Black people that reside here, right? And even to the fact that a lot of the parents of these Black students, some are mixed and some are Black or African, some of them, well, a lot, quite frankly, don't have Black parents. And again, I'm not bashing their parents, I'm just giving some context here. So within, the rites of passage and the capstone, I said that it's going to be more formalized this year. And what I conveyed is that, the young men are going to wear Black pants, slacks preferably, Black button-up shirt, long sleeves, you know, just, really kind of business attire, and I'm ordering ties for the young men. Now, I asked the young women, did they want ties as well? Again, not trying to emasculate or not trying to masculinize them, but again, some young ladies do like wearing ties. So again, I put it out there, but the consensus was that they didn't want to wear ties. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. Um, and the young ladies, I said, you could wear skirts, of course, pants, white blouse or, whatever the white tops you want to wear, that's fine. And I said, you could only wear leggings if they're underneath a skirt. Because again, from my perception, leggings are, they're kind of thin, they're tight. Um, they appear as less formal. And there's a consensus within, with my colleagues, surrounding like, the optics and how that would look. And again, we're talking about, formal, being formal, right? And again, I've been trying to convey to people, and I'm like, it's really going to look a certain type of way when these young men come out pretty much suited and booted, ties and shirts and everything and shoes, so on and so forth. And the young ladies come out with some tight old leggings and, a blouse or a white t-shirt, whatever the case may be. And so I really drew a hard line in the sand. I'm the director of the program, but I don't, at least I try not to come across as this, it's my way or the highway. Again, it's important to hear, the voices of our babies, but at the same time, ultimately, sometimes we have to, make that decision when they don't see the ultimate picture, right? We as parents, our children don't get to say in the final say of the outcomes. We do that. So if we're looking at these babies with that same type of vein, right? Like, hey, and this is going to be a formalized event, it's really not an issue. So it came to me today. So the young ladies, and I have a colleague, um, she and the young ladies came up to me at the end of the day, and they said, we have, they want to share something with you. And their position was that they wanted to wear leggings. And I was like, no, I made it pretty clear that, this is formal, leggings. Mm-mm. And they were like, well, we feel like we don't have a voice, that you're trying to dress us up like young males. And I'm like, really? I'm not saying, you all decided you didn't want to wear ties. The young males are not wearing skirts. You could wear skirts. You could wear, slacks, or you could wear the leggings underneath the skirts. Whatever, that's fine. But the leggings themselves, that's less formal, right? And so they were pushing back, and I was like, hey, all right, you show me how this will look, right? You show me how this will look with the blouse on the top and everything, and then I will get with my female colleague, and we will make that decision. Now, mind you, that she agrees that, yeah, leggings are less formal. She's admitted to that. However, her positionality is that, yes, no man should be telling, I don't like for any man to tell me what to wear. So that's her positionality. And when she's saying that, of course, the young ladies are picking up on that vibe, and it's causing this bifurcation between, the brothers and sisters. And the reason why I say that is because she conveyed something else at the meeting today, saying that this space feels like a male space, a male dominated space, and that, I feel like we don't have any say in anything. And I'm just like, the music that you all listen to is hip hop. It's all males hip hop. You don't listen to any female hip hop, which is inaccurate. But let her vent and everything and say what she had to say. And my question is that how come you haven't approached us, or how come you haven't come up and say, hey, I want to listen to this? And especially when we see the young men and young women dancing to the music and everything and having a good time. And some people have made suggestions about, hey, let's listen to this. And we put that on. And other, colleagues have come up, hey, Actually, I'm like, man, sure, look, whatever, play what you want to play. It's fine. This is all our space collectively, and so that's pretty problematic in itself because again, if the young ladies feel that way, and if you're not saying, hey, well, will go with you and talk to him about the situation and let's see what we can do about it. Because what she's doing is reifying the trope that, listen, black males are black males in leadership in this role, in this dynamic are just unapproachable, that they're bullheaded and it's just their way or the highway. And of course, these are the tropes that are out there about, black men in leadership. And so if you listen to, the other discussion Irene and I had about the teddy bear effect, you know that that's true, right? We often in leadership have to be, you know, cuddly and warm and fuzzy and less agentic, to placate to the masses. And so my problem in this regard is this is another sister and she should understand this dynamic here. We should be supporting each other. Like, hey, I understand what Dr. Rashid's saying and everything. Yes, you can have your voice and everything, but really supporting the overall cause, not causing a further bifurcation, not causing a further, this further trope, this further ideology like, yeah, black males, they don't listen to us and everything. They just want to run us. They just want to, us to be barefoot and pregnant or whatever this false narrative or this feminist rhetoric that has no place when we're trying to come together as young black men and young black women and older black women and older black men to try to give them example like, hey, this is how we work together. Black men, we're not perfect. We're not going to get everything right. But if it's something unbeknownst to us, and if you're not coming to us and saying, hey, brother, we want to hear some of this, I'll be like, say less. Here you go. Let's listen to it, But again, that's not the situation here. And again, it's so problematic to me because inevitably, and what's occurring, in my humble opinion, is that you're kind of mentoring these young sisters in a way that it's going to be this further bifurcation between black men and black women. Not saying like, hey, again, go up to him. I'll go up with you. I know this brother. That's not his intention. That's not how he's getting down. All right, let's go with them together. Let's see if we can get some resolution or get some clarity on why this is the case. And again, you knowing the reason why this is the case, you can convey that too and still come up and have all of our backs instead of throwing us out there and putting us under the bus. That's really problematic. And then this is, this Me Too era where again, the myth of the black male rapist and everything is still very pervasive, right? It still happens too often. And then it's this Me Too era when you're saying like, oh, well, you just don't listen to us and everything. It's very dangerous because if you're saying, that I feel like I'm being attacked or my voice is not being heard and everything, that's Me Too rhetoric. And again, those accusations are very dangerous. And if you are doing that, in addition to you doing that, but if you're really, kind of preaching and teaching this rhetoric to young ladies who don't really come in contact with black males in the first place, because again, a lot of these young black ladies don't have, black fathers, or they don't come in contact with black males often anyway. This is a situation where you have the inverse because we know in the school setting it's primarily, white females. And now here you have an opportunity to change the narrative and say, hey, we've been fortunate to have, a multiplicity of black males here, and this is great. And we can get insight on, are these tropes real? Ask some questions, establish, some type of, bond with some black males that you unfortunately don't have in your life. But again, that's being arrested because of these tropes. And again, it's just so dangerous and it's disheartening to me because I'm like, no, that's not what this is about. This is not what this is about at all. And again, if you're saying that I feel like this space is just all male dominated and everything, and I'm like, well, again, if you know that we're trying to hire more women in this space. And she herself was
specifically Black women.
Specifically Black women, right? This is all Black. This is an all Black program, right? Unapologetically Black. And we're getting Black guest speakers and everything. We're going to universities that are all Black and everything. I mean, I can't control the fact that either Black women were available, or I mean, I can't control that. I can't control the fact that these brothers that were able to participate, that they were born male. I mean, that shouldn't be an indictment of them. And how are they supposed to act? You know, they're going to act like men. That doesn't mean that they're going to be disrespectful to women. I mean, even the way we structure it, right? So I want you to listen to this, audience. Our young ladies, when we go eat, they're at the front of the line. I say, listen, the young lady's going to go first, then the gentlemen are going to go second. We try to make it as chivalrous as possible. And even sometimes we have the young men picking up the young ladies' chairs and stuff like that. And again, but in this kind of feminist world and everything, those type of things looked at as, what are you saying? I get my own chair. No, we can be in the back and everything. And I'm like, really? So it's like this it's a catch-22. We're trying to be supportive and chivalrous and everything, and make sure that if we're missing something, that come to us and everything. We'll love to learn what we're not getting right and come to a resolution. But if you're sitting up there and saying, just complaining about it, and again, I know sometimes this happens where there's a lot of complaints, but then usually at the end of that, from my experience dealing with women, usually at the end of the complaints, there's some resolution. Like, okay, this is what we could do to make this situation better. And when there isn't that, I'm looking at, okay, you just want to complain. You're just in your feelings like Drake, and you don't want any resolution. And I'm like, this is so problematic. So in addition to that, so when the young ladies came up, most of them were very respectful, right? I would say 99% of them were really respectful. One, she was a little disrespectful. So I didn't mind what she said, but the ways in which she said it, yeah, she lightweight needed to be checked. And the person that should have checked her was this other sister. She should have been like, hey, listen, I understand you can have passion and everything, but again, we're going to have some respect and everything, you know, to this brother and everything, yada, yada, yada. That didn't happen, because I guarantee you, if any brothers were around and another young brother approached her in a disrespectful manner, they would have got checked like the first of 15 or Nike swoosh. That would have happened with automaticity. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, wait a minute, this is very problematic. And so again, I was, venting to Irene about this, because I'm like, am I missing something? And of course, you all know Irene, my babe, she's hardcore. She's like, listen, you're the director over it. It's formal. Enough said.
No, don't tell what I'll say, because I'm going to say it when you're done.
Okay, I apologize. But I really think if this was a white male in leadership, with agency, I don't think this would have been questioned. I don't think this would have been questioned at all. Like, oh, okay, he said this. This is what we're going to do, And I explained the reason why. And most of the young ladies, they were like, okay. Because I said, listen, when you go to the prom, you're not going to wear leggings. When you go to an interview, if you want to see Michelle Obama or whoever like that, you're not going to go wearing leggings. And they were like, and my colleague, the woman, she was like, I'm like, yeah, leggings are tight and everything, and some of them are thin. That's not, you got a problem with it being tight? I was like, oh my goodness. If you don't understand the reason why I have an issue with these young sisters coming there with some tight leggings on, right? And some are
children. Remember, these are youth.
Yes, these are youth. These are middle to high school students. And if we're not protecting them, right? So what are we doing? What are we doing? So, if the young brothers want to say, hey, Doc, man, I want to come in with some Dickies on, some jeans, sagging and everything, because I feel comfortable like that. So I'm supposed to say, oh, they should have their voice. They should come out there and show their asses and everything, because again, no one should tell them how to dress. You would look at me like I'm Boo Boo the Fool, huh? But again, this is the contradiction. This is the hypocrisy that I'm talking about, that we're not willing to have honest discussions in this Me Too feminism era. And again, for Black people, I think is highly problematic. Highly problematic. So again, I really want to hear some suggestions. Again, I'm not trying to be on my soapbox and again, think that I'm right. I think that I am right, but if I'm missing something, again, I really want to look at this critically, because again, I do think our babies should have a voice, because often in school settings, they are voiceless. I get that. And in this particular space that we, set up, they do have a voice. They get to talk, they get to indulge, they get to do a lot. They get to, they get to be young people. But again, they're getting college credits for this whole rites of passage. So it's not going to be Burger King, and everything is not going to be their way. You're not going to get to go outside and play on a teeter-totter and run to the bathroom every 5 minutes and do that stuff. We're going to be on your helmet out of love. That means like we're going to be on you, but it's not because we don't love you. It's because we know you have to get this, and we're not trying to break you down or embarrass you or anything like that. I get that whole argument. That's not what's happening here. I think what's happening here is that, somebody wants to be in control. Somebody feels a certain way about what's going on. And I honestly said this in the meeting. I said, if the conversation that I said would have been broached from the empowerment session. So we have a male empowerment session and we have a female empowerment session. I said, I think the problem is this, that I, as a man, said it. But I think if it came from another female, another woman, I think it would have been received so much better and so much differently. So here's
or a white person, a white man, because a black man wouldn't have stepped to a white man. Yeah, a white man specifically. Yeah.
No, not at all. No, not at all. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But so I get that, and I understand that part of it being received better coming from another woman, and I'm okay with that. But the part that I'm not okay with is that when are we as Black men and Black women going to support each other in that regard? So if like, hey, I didn't say this, but I agree with it, but since it didn't come from me, I'm really going to, create this bifurcation, create this stink and everything, because I don't want nobody telling me how to dress. I feel a certain way too, but I agree with what you're saying. Really? But if it came from you, then the whole dynamic will change. And then I'm looking at us like, okay, should it matter? And I get young people, it matters and everything. But when are we going to get to a point where we're supporting each other? We're like, no, young sisters, this is what he means by this, and, break it down, the perception. We talked about, Sarah Bartman, in one of the sessions, how sisters are objectified and everything for having, being well endowed, right? And again, they're going to have like a little dance routine and everything. And I'm just like, really? We want our young sisters showing their bottoms off and everything. Not that they're going to be twerking or gyrating or anything like that, but I'm just saying that.
But still, like Black women always have to be sexy or entertaining and things like that. And the goal is for these children to be intellectuals. The program, like you said, is designed so that they can garner college credit and be ahead of the game when they get there. Because remember, these are all Black children.
Yeah.
And so who don't normally have the ability to be around other Black people like that, because the Black population in that city is so small. You know what I'm saying? That this this is their way of being around their own people. This is their opportunity. A lot of times it'll be a single white parent at a home, or white people who have adopted a Black child. This is their time to be like around other Black people. Can I give my opinion on this?
Absolutely. Yes.
So I just want to say this. For me, I feel like with regard to the 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 ceremony and it being a formal event, I feel like, this Black woman just has a problem with Black male leadership, because to see a gender dispute in every place is problematic to me. If the director of the program who gave you your job, right? You're in a Black space, he's hired the people that are present. It's all Black children. We know how important there are not a lot of Black people. It's so important that these programs exist where these kids can be around their own people and experience that, like he said, the presence of many Black men in a place that have a love for our children, and to have Black women leading them. And I think it's just so unfortunate, to me, you hired her, but to me, I feel like it's so unfortunate that she's over the young Black women, because if the director, be that director male or female, says, okay, this event's going to be a formal event, this is going to be the dress code, period. There are some things that are not going to fall in line with a formal event. Leggings and things like that are not one of those things. But because this sister that's over the young ladies sees everything as far as, a war with Black men, she, and some of those young girls are growing up around white women. Just let's be real. And we know how white women are, pushing the Me Too thing, how white women are, all feminazied out and all that. And they don't want a man to lead them, period. That's the narrative that they put out, right? But they're still marrying their men and things, right? So because a lot of these children are already in a liberal white environment, and you know how dangerous I feel white liberals are, it does not help to come into an all Black space and have a Black woman co-sign you, feel in some kind of way, because the director, who is a Black man, has said, this is a formal event and you guys cannot wear leggings or inappropriate clothing. Because a Black man has said, I don't want you guys wearing anything that makes you can be looked upon as sexualized. I want, you know what I'm saying? And the boys have a dress code too, because it's a co-ed space. And so she is, co-signing this unhealthy thought process. And it's so sad. Like, it hurts my heart, because when these children go home, a lot of them will not have a Black man there, even though they're Black children. And so the one Black woman that has the closest contact with them is supporting this ideology that the Black man should not be listened to, and that there is a problem there, even though it's so far off from anything that matters, right? It's a formal event. The fact that a Black man said it doesn't change what the word formal means. And as far as having a voice, I feel like, he is far more generous than I am. Real life is, you don't get a voice in everything, right? When you have a superior, it's not a democracy, right? When you go to work and you have a boss, you don't get a vote. When they tell you this is how we're doing it, this is the dress code for school, this is the dress code for the office, you adhere to it. You don't get to give that pushback. So even supporting that ideology to these young Black women, to me, is problematic, because that's not the real world. And it's definitely not the real world for a bunch of Black kids that live in an area that is almost all white. It's a dangerous thing to teach. I'm so disgusted that this was her behavior, like me personally. And also with regard to the music, he had a little chance, remember, because again, this is an all Black program. Everybody there is Black. Everybody he hired is Black. And these Black kids are having a chance to be with their own people. These are kids that go to school every day surrounded by white people. These are kids that often go home in homes with white people. This is their chance to be around other Black people and just be themselves, enjoy music created by our people. So he gave the kids an opportunity to kind of play songs they liked and introduce them to some old school music by our people. And the kids are all dancing and having a good time. And this woman turns it into a gender thing, that too many of the artists were men, Black men. Right? But the thing is, this is not something she's just thinking. This is a discussion she's having with these Black little girls in an area that should be a space that is safe for them to have healthy relationships with Black people, both male and female. So the kids are dancing, having a good time, but afterward, this is the conversation that she's having with those children. So even if a child came to you and said, I don't feel enough female artists were played, right? That would be the opportunity to say, well, you know what? Next time, go up there and suggest some music, right? That would not be the opportunity for you as a Black woman in authority over these Black children to push them further down the road of the gender divide. I mean, I cannot even believe, especially given the fact that this is kind of the chance that they have to be with other people. Why would you bring that trash into this space? And you know what? You have to think about the fact that when you're surrounded by white people, it's already hard enough to love your Blackness. It's already hard enough to connect with other Black people.
Say that again.
And you come to a program that is a place for you to do just that. Again, when you are in a place filled with white people, it's already hard enough to love and connect with your Blackness and have healthy relationships with other Black people. This is a place where, you know how Black people normally see each other and we acknowledge each other? Like, this is a universal thing. My son said it happened to him when he was in Japan. Like, a Black person would see him and they would do the acknowledgement thing. It's something that our people do. We recognize each other. We see each other. This is a place where the Black people don't do that. Can you imagine? Can you imagine seeing nothing but a white face for hours and then you finally see a Black person and they don't acknowledge you? This is the world that they live in. Why would you pollute this Black space for those babies? And this is where gender disputes are problematic for me. Instead of celebrating that there is a Black man over a program for Black and all the staff are Black and these children have an opportunity to blossom there, stupid things over what music the kids were laughing and dancing to, over the fact that the girls don't want to be told what to wear in a formal event instead of correcting them and not letting these white ideologies seep into this area. Taking precious time that should be dedicated to them and growing the program and bouncing ideas off of each other's heads to whine and complain about issues that you are feeding, adding fuel to the fire in these young Black minds. And it's really disgusting. I think we see this here on YouTube too, this promotion of a gender war, and y'all, I'm not with it. Because this is an example of how that mindset destroys our community. Has the potential, I mean, think about how impressionable those little girls are. They finally get into a Black space and the Black woman that is leading them is saying that there is a problem with Black male leadership.
Hello? Cut off.
Like, what kind of twisted mindset? And show.
You're fading, babe.
Wait.
You're fading in and out.
I cut off?
Yeah, you're fading kind of. You're kind of fading in and out. I can hear you now, but you're kind of fading.
Okay, so if, you know, we're going to have a call-in show, and so you guys are welcome to call in and give your opinions on this situation or just the gender war in the Black community in general, no matter how you feel. But the only thing I will say is that we are on and discussing and taking comments on this topic. No other topics. I don't want to be rude, but my man has laid down the law and the foundation. And so if you get off topic, I will ask you to get back on topic. Or if you can't do that, I'll probably hang up on you just because I have to be obedient because I personally listen to my man. So, you know, that's the only thing that I will ask. So I'm throwing the call-in number in the chat, and y'all know I suck at this call-in thing, but I'm going to try to I'm trying to get it right today, y'all. But you know, I've had to like literally call some of y'all back because I can't get the call fast enough. So Tamiko said she's suffering from PTSS and she has been hurt and holds all Black men. It's very possible. So
read it again. Read it again because it kind of came out. Read it again.
Have an event that is a formal event.
Could you go back and read?
Dr. G.
Read the first comment because it kind of came in and out. Now I can't hear anything. Hello? Hello? I can't hear anything.
Okay, can you guys hear me? Not hear me now. Yeah. Can you hear me now or no? Are you guys able to hear me now? Yes or no? Or maybe so. Hmm. I wonder what. Okay, guys. Sorry. So can you because all right. So great. What is VJ doing in the chat?
Can you hear me now?
That he should. Yeah, I think everybody can hear us.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what happened, you guys. It all just went like super crazy.
So can you read the statement that you made about PTSD or something? I didn't hear it. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Well, the
I'm trying
program,
to find
Gerald,
the
at this point. Yeah, can you not hear me right now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. So, anyway, y'all. So, yeah, so go ahead, call in thank you, Great Black. Put the number in the chat. So feel free to call in and we can discuss this topic and like what your thoughts are with regard to this topic. For me personally, I just feel that, you know, this woman is tripping. Like she like legit is tripping. And I think that it's really unfortunate, as I said, just because of the environment and, you know, to just kind of opportunity to really be with their own people and, you know, learn about their culture and feel safe as Black people and build that connection, I think is absolutely unfortunate. But I'm interested to hear what all of you guys think. So feel free to call in if you have thoughts on the subject. If you have thoughts about the take a look at your comments. So Gerald said if she was PTSD, have work. Well, he didn't know that she was going to behave this way, obviously, right? He was just looking over the children. I feel like my man loves Black people so much. Um, like it's hard a lot of times for him to see past like his love.
You faded out.
I mean, the damage is kind of, but the damage is kind of done. So yeah. Tamiko
Yeah,
said
in
she
addition to
also
that, it's
suffered.
also a sexual thing. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, Tamiko said she also suffers from self-hate and spreads it to all Black people she comes in contact with. Well, I don't know if she does that, but I think that she doesn't like ship.
You're coming in and
I
out, Ray.
definitely think that. I think
You're still coming in and out.
ladies.
Irene, you're coming in and out.
I think when you are, I know it was buffering. I'm watching it on YouTube and it's buffering.
Okay.
I think when you can have a problem with the, you know, young women not being able to wear leggings to a formal event and somehow you turn that into Black men telling you what to do, I think you clearly have a problem with Black men. Like, how do you twist that up? It's a formal event. Leggings are not formal. Like, it's that simple. It has nothing to do with a Black man. You know what I mean? Like, that's when you know you have a problem. Oh, you only heard part. Okay. How old was the young lady disputing the brother's authority? Well, this was a woman, Great Black. And about how old is she? Like in her 30s, in her 40s,
No, I'm really
in her
embarrassed to say.
50s?
Yeah, she's in her 50s. She is in her 50s.
She's in her 50s? I didn't know that.
Yes. She's in
Oh
her
my
50s.
gosh, y'all. Oh my gosh. Wow, I thought she was like younger based on her behavior. So I
Which,
guess she's in her 50s, y'all. That's insane. I cannot with this. I mean, I cannot. Let me see what else you guys are talking about. Sorry, let me scroll back up before we had our horrible interruption. Arcade X said, this is a completely new perspective. Everybody is focusing on it would be dope if we worked together. I agree with that.
I didn't hear
I
all
agree
of
with
it.
you.
I didn't hear all of it. Some of it cut out. If you could repeat it.
Okay, it said this is a completely new perspective. Everyone is focusing on their own gender and bashing the other. It would be dope if we could work together.
I concur. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
It is even worse. I feel like Tamiko says he believes that she has had past bad relationships with Black men, and men because of it. It's possible, important to have Black fathers in the home and Black men actively engaging with children, because I think this sort of mindset comes from not having a healthy experience with childhood. So that's why I really didn't want to hold their child hostage as punishment to a Black man. Like, if you don't let this man see his child, like he doesn't have to like you. You guys don't have to get along. Like, it's not about you, right? It's about the child. Having been in a family structure, or having been in a family structure that is devoid of men being respected. Today, disrespect is somewhat encouraged towards Black men in some sectors of life. That's true.
Very true. Very true. And the sad part about that
Yeah,
comment is so
I
true, but
completely
it's
agree with
not checked. It's not checked by other sisters. Like, hey, wait a minute, let's scale it back. And again, I can speak for myself and the Black men that are my colleagues. We would check a young brother in a minute, like, you're not going to, talk to this sister this way. That's not going to happen.
Okay, we had a caller, but I'm awful. Hold on. 310. I'm going to call you back. I'm so bad at this call-in thing. Why am I so bad at it?
Getting you good practice.
Okay, what's your what?
It's Jay.
Oh, your name is Jay? Okay. What do you have to ask?
Yeah. Go ahead, your phone's setting up.
Oh, I said, what would you like to say?
It have it. earlier today, just feminism and MGTOW and this perceived gender.
Can't hear anything. Can't hear anything.
Comes from a lot of times people not wanting to be told what to do, and specifically women by men at this point, because we're so emotional over being criticized so publicly now. I think that with social media, we've now been able to see all of the criticism that we weren't able to see in the past. We're starting to see people really voice the criticism about women, and I don't think we're used to it. So every emotional charge, we bring everyone else's baggage into it from social media, and we start bringing in all of this baggage to speak for every woman each time we get into an individual altercation. So we're speaking for every woman. Every time we talk to a man, and we're speaking to every man. Every time we talk to a man, and I think that's emotionalism and trauma.
I have said in the past, like, broken people going about breaking other people, right? And I think that's kind of what you're saying is people have emotional trauma and they're able to share that with each other, especially in social media. And other people start dragging the baggage of this person's life, making decisions about how they're going.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and I think like in the beginning, I'm so sorry to have you repeat it, but I think we had like a buffering issue. Can you just reiterate the first part of what you said when you first came on?
Man. Oh, I think I was just saying that we're not making bed, but it leads to almost a divorce. I feel like that's where black men and Black women are. It's basically, we don't even know where this argument started. Like, where did this gender war? And I think that we can try and point the finger at and really will end up back. Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. They were saying it sounded kind of Borgy. Are you able to hear me?
Do you want me? I can hear you perfectly fine.
Oh, you can hear me perfectly fine? Okay.
I'll hang up and then I'll try calling back a little bit later.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys, why are there so many technical difficulties tonight? That's what I do not understand. That is so awful.
This must be a very important topic. You know.
This.
You know.
Go ahead, babe.
Now I'm getting feedback. I said it must be a very important topic. As one of the YouTubers often say, the white man trying to keep us down. I don't know if that's the case, but this is unfortunate because I think, you know, what your callers and what your audience is conveying is something that we should have a conversation about. And I think, again, we may not all agree, but I think if there's some conversation, some earnest, honest conversation, I think it's going to help us understand some of the ways in which come to a resolution. So I think what I was able to hear from the caller is trauma. And again, that word gets thrown around a lot, and I'm not trying to be insensitive to it because, again, trauma is a very real, you know, dynamic within the Black community. But again, if it's trauma, and again, it's unbeknownst to us, again, we could be making the situation worse. Again, we're not trying to get all up into your mix, but at the same time, if you're saying we're doing something and we don't know about it, and there's no way for us to fix it. And again, I think what I heard the caller said is true, and I think unfortunate. You know, oftentimes, you know, these individuals, whether it's a male or female, right, have been through these traumatic experiences, right? And there may be things that trigger. And again, unbeknownst to the individual. And the problem I have with this whole thing is that you don't feel as if you could come to us to kind of to come to a resolution, you know, especially Black males. Like, you feel like, oh, you're not going to listen to me. You're just going to shun me like everybody else. Like, these societal tropes say Black men are hyper this, hyper that, and, you know, just want to listen, full of themselves. And so why bother? Because you're not going to listen to me anyway. And so when I hear that, I'm saying you're reifying the trope. You're believing the hype. And so how do we come to a resolution when you feel you're hearing this and you're embodying this and you're having these, you know, triggers, but again, instead of trying to have a resolution, you're saying that there's no resolution because you're caught up into these tropes about Black men. It's very frustrating to me. And like you said, Irene, when this individual is mentoring and shaping and, you know, really molding, you know, other young middle and high school, you know, students, female students, it's really problematic. It's really problematic. And especially, like you said, the underscore, they don't come across Black males. They don't, not in this space. They just don't. And you're coming across a multiplicity of Black males who love you, who have your best interest in mind. Again, we're not perfect. And if we do something, let us know so we could be held accountable and so that we can rectify it. But that's not the case. There's somebody calling in.
Yeah, hold on. It might have been She X again. Hold on. So let's see if we can make this work. Hold on a second. I'm so sorry, you guys. I don't know what is going on tonight. We never have this. Okay, I think it was her again, but I don't know, like everything is acting out today. Okay, you guys, we're gonna try to persevere through because it's like a good topic. But if the anybody no. But when I'm so upset that you guys didn't get to hear all of it because a lot of what she said was really amazing, but I feel like she got cut off like in the process of saying it, which was awful. But Tamiko said they call it toxic. I'm sorry?
Can you kind of paraphrase what she said?
I don't know that I can.
Okay.
I don't know that fair. I can because she said so much.
That's fair.
But I think the part that really stuck out to me is when she was saying that, yeah. I think the part that toward the end, because she said a lot in the beginning that I wish she could just personally repeat. But I think what she said toward the end that I really liked is she was talking about people having their own hurts and traumas. And then that shapes their ideology of the world, right? And then they have the ability through social media or programs like, you know, Yours for the Youth, where they have the chance then to impose their traumas on other people and, you know, kind of spread that disease. It's like something bad happened to you, and now you want to make everybody see reality through your traumatized lens. And I think that that is an issue, you know, and I felt like I hear this all off, you know, and has had a negative relationships with Black men, and then, you know, spends all her time talking down on Black men and talking about struggle love and things like that. And it's like, just because you've been traumatized, you don't have to go and break other people. Like, let people be healthy and live life. And I think a lot of the problems is, you know, especially with little ones, like in the case of, you know, this sister over the young Black ladies, you start handing your baggage to people and then they incorporate it into a part of their life. And even though these are just middle schoolers and high schoolers, then that colors how they see moving forward. And poisonous person can poison other people. And we really have to, you know, cut that completely out. Kay asked, that's kind of off topic, Kay. Should men be full providers? I mean, ideally, in my opinion, my man is more like of but yeah. Are you able to, because I thought, Maybe it's just
Hello?
Oh my gosh, I could not hear you at all at the end. And Google, like, legit just kicked me off the Hangout. Like, so I don't know what was going on. Like, what was that about? That was so unfortunate.
Yeah, that's the first time that's ever occurred, you know?
I know. I've never had that problem before. I don't know what that could have been about. But I finally had to give up because